Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about the best Vanguard build for patch 9.0 Space Marine 2. Now the Vanguard is a very popular and very strong option in this game. He has a ton of healing mechanics, a ton of damage reduction, and amazing CHP recovery, while also having excellent close range damage, thanks to things like the automatic bolt carbine, which we will be taking today. Now this is the overall best weapon for the Vanguard class in general, just because its ammo economy is amazing. This thing also gets an increased headshot multiplier within 10 meters of a target, which pairs very well with your grapnel, on top of your prestige perk here, Battlefield Awareness. If a target is within 8 meters, you'll deal 10% more range damage. This is pretty much a free range damage buff for your bolt carbine whenever you grapnel, which happens all the time. This weapon also has a great synergy with fencing weapons with stuff like gunstrike reload, so really it's just a win all around. And on top of all of this, its CHP recovery is almost second to none. Now for the actual perk tree here, I do go into Headhunter through Rapid Health over into the perk Hone Precision. Equip weapons maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This basically turns your hip fire into a laser beam. It's actually more accurate than aiming down sights, so our 2 accuracy here doesn't really matter at all because of that, which gives us the luxury of taking a magazine capacity and ammo reserve option. Then I move through here into Divine Might for a 10% flat damage increase to pick up more headshot damage with Headhunter. Then I go down through this part of the tree for a magazine size increase and more ammo on top of magazine restoration. When your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by a full magazine, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, while our weapon is already pretty ammo efficient, this is some of the only ammo regeneration the Vanguard can get, period. So a very strong option for sure, which is why we pick it up here. And since I will be using a fencing weapon here, I do move up and pick up Gunstrike Reload. After a Gunstrike, this weapon instantly reloads. This one has great synergy with fencing because half the time you'll be shooting into a guy's head, they'll do an attack, you'll parry them, Gunstrike, and get your magazine back to do it all over again, or just melee attack them. Very strong option. And the final perk I pick up here is Recruitment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Armor restores in this game are very valuable. The Vanguard has a ton already, but 1 more is that much better. And mainly armor is strong because it has damage caps where HP does not. So things like melee hits, even from bosses, will always be taken down to 0 damage no matter how much armor you have remaining. So having a drip feed of armor is very strong. It also pairs very well with things like Conviction. When your armor breaks, you get a 25% health damage reduction, which is why we really value it so highly. And for my secondary selection on the Vanguard class, I have decided to take a heavy bolt pistol this time, mainly because we are using a fencing weapon like I mentioned previously, and the heavy bolt pistol has the best gunstrike damage of any gun in this game. Very strong for that option, and honestly this class doesn't even have access to the plasma pistol anyways, so it's kind of a no-brainer to take this one. And once again, I pick up the magazine capacity version with ammo reserve options, mainly because we kind of struggle with ammo economy. And the way I build it is just going pure headshot damage for the top tree into tactical precision, over here into the perk increased capacity for even greater ammo reserves. Very useful for this class for sure. And for my melee weapon selection, I have decided to take the newly buffed fencing chainsword. Now in patch 9.0, the speed of this thing got up to 9 and its strength is now 12. Now this is an incredibly fast weapon, which is why I build it for light attacks with stuff like combined onslaught for a flat 10% damage increase to our light combos, on top of things like momentum gain. Each consecutive light attack increases light attack and melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds. This thing with a 9 speed is a super huge damage increase, and honestly, even without the gun strikes, this thing can do serious damage. Very, very powerful option, one of the best weapons in the game currently in my opinion. And we have an amazing synergy here with the perk selection Swift Recovery. Heavy attack restores 100% more contested health, applies to the following attacks: Quick Punch, Front Kick, Shoulder Bash, Stomp. Your heavy attacks with this thing, especially at the full throttle skip that I will link in a video up here, is incredibly powerful at getting your CHP back. And we combine this with the full throttle skip and the CHP recovery perk and our 50% increased contested health recovery from our starting perk, which only affects melee in case you're unaware. You can get so much HP back off of a chainsword, and with a 9 speed, your heavy attacks come out so fast that Minoris honestly lack the power to kill you, and even if they did, you just fencing parry them, get armor back. Incredible horde clear tool, incredibly damaging tool, and also gives you gun strikes, so pretty much fits everything we'd want to do in this class. And also, even though it has a cleaving potential of 1, this really doesn't affect you at all in this game. Like in actual gameplay, you hardly even notice this because you're just attacking so fast, and most of the time you're attacking single targets and stuff like that, and you can still knock guys around regardless. So very, very strong option. Though I will say, if you want to take the balanced chainsword, you certainly can, because this one is also very strong, although it is ever so slightly slower. But these are both very good options, and even the block chainsword, that's like fits your fancy here. For the perk tree selection, I have decided to take upper hand first once again. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. No knockback, even with the recent grace period on stun locks, is still incredible. It just lets you do things that you otherwise could not, especially if you're swinging around with a fast chainsword. Very strong effect for sure. Alternatively, you could take melee mastery for a 10% melee increase versus Majoris and higher enemies, but I just value this one way more. Next perk I take here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This perk is S tier, so good at preventing damage nukes. When your armor breaks in this game, that is when you are at your most vulnerable, and this one gives you a fat 25% health damage reduction during that time period for 10 seconds, and 10 seconds is an incredibly long uptime. It also has great synergy with perks like Recruitment on our Bulk Carbine, and our prestige perks here, Launch Restoration and Restoration, that I'll get into more later. Now, the next perk I take is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charge by 1. Cooldown is 90 seconds. Equipment recharge in this game is top tier almost all the time, pretty much because getting 90-second Melta bombs is just top tier, period. Blows up any Extremis in your way, blows up any Majoris pack in your way, and having anything like that on a cooldown is just amazing. And next perk I take here for the team perk selection is Unmatched Zeal. Melee finishers of Extremis or Terminus level enemies additionally restore health by 30% for any squad member. You know, this one scales up the higher difficulty you're playing on, so things like Hard Siege and Absolute will simply benefit from this more than, say, like Ruthless will, but overall this perk just turns any Extremis or Terminus into a med pack. Very, very strong perk, one of the strongest in the game. Alternatively, you could take Inner Fire, because this perk is also an amazing enabler for yourself and your team. As for the gear selection here, I take Shockwave first. A Diving Kick additionally deals damage in a 5-meter radius. Very strong perk at clearing out things like Bramble. You can pretty much like detonate any Cultist Swarm or Spore Mine Swarm off of one grapnel. I pretty much use it for that exclusively, and these other two perks aren't very strong anyways. And this one, Restless Fortitude, after a Diving Kick, you take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds. This one's okay, but it kind of has some negative synergies at times with stuff like Zone of Impact and Tactical Prowess, mainly because you're going to be executing off of your grapnel more often than just getting the damage reduction, which is why I take this one instead. Next perk I take here is Zone of Impact. Performing a finish with the grapnel launcher deals damage to nearby enemies. This damage is absurd, and we stack this with Tactical Prowess, which is letting us execute guys at 33% HP and refunding our grapnel on an execute. You can pretty much just wipe out whole Majoris and even Extremis packs at times. The only downside of this combo is that it's pretty buggy, but it works more than it doesn't, and it's still a top tier perk for sure. Next perk I take here is Thrill of the Fight. After a perfect timed parry, block, or dodge, you take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. This is pretty much up all the time, because even though it only lasts for 5 seconds, you are parry, blocking, and dodging all the time in Space Marine 2, because that's just how the gameplay combat loop works. So that's why we pretty much always take this perk. Now, you could also take Grim Determination when grapnel launcher is in cooldown. Weapon damage increases by 15%. I just don't like this perk that much, mainly because you can't just use it off of like one grapnel charge being down. They both have to be in cooldown, which means you aren't having your Tactical Prowess up or Zone of Impact anyways, so it's really not as useful as it may initially sound, which is kind of unfortunate. And I would actually take the Combat Readiness perk over this one if I were to choose between these two. This one just makes your grapnel come back 20% faster, which is pretty useful for Zone of Impact and Tactical Prowess, especially since we don't have Inner Fire here. And the signature perk is, like I mentioned before, Tactical Prowess. This one just gives you your grapnel back whenever you execute a guy with your grapnel at the 33% HP or lower. Very strong perk, very good synergy with Zone of Impact. Again, the only downside of it is that it's kind of buggy, but hey, you know, it's still top tier despite that. For my prestige perk selection, I do take Battlefield Awareness first. If a target is within 8 meters, you deal 10% more range damage. Well, first of all, we have a grapnel launcher, so we're going close range all the time. We also have a Bulk Carbine, so we benefit off of close range more than most weapons do because of the headshot multiplier increase. And we are also an incredibly aggressive melee class that has incredible CHP recovery on both our primary weapon and melee weapon with this build, so it's just a free range damage buff as far as I'm concerned. Very strong perk for sure. Next perk I take here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. All health increases in Space Marine 2 are top tier, because the way health works is that the lower your HP gets, the more damage resistance you get. So the bigger your base HP, the more effective HP you have at low HP values. So what I mean by that is that when you're at like 20% HP, your HP is going to have a fat damage reduction, and your 20% HP is going to be worth more than somebody that doesn't have this perk. So very, very top tier perk for sure. Next perk I take here is Launch Restoration. Using the grapnel launcher restores one armor segment. Like I said before, drip fed armor in this game is amazing because it has damage cap caps that HP does not, and this one is tied to your aggressive abilities. So let's say you're getting shot at and you hit your Q or whatever it is on your controller and you grapple on a guy, but now you have an armor back on top of the fact that you were able to shoot them with your bolt carbine to get your CHP back, or swing like your melee chainsword at them. Very, very strong synergy for sure with this class. And the next perk I take here is for the same reason, Restoration. Killing 7 enemies rapid succession restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. When we stack this, Launch Restoration, and our Bolt Carbine perk, Recoupment, our drip-fed armor is kind of insane. You get so much armor back, and you're way tankier than you might seem, even with just the perk Conviction here. So, very strong combination. Now, some people might like Indomitable Spirit. While performing a gun strike, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This is a very strong perk, definitely. However, we do have upper hand, so we really don't need a no knockback on this, because we pretty much have no knockback all the time, because we are a fencing melee class after all that has grappling in constantly. So this 10-second proc is pretty much always active, which is why I don't really rank this one very highly on this class. Much better on classes like the Heavy and Sniper for sure. Now that's pretty much what I like to say about the build here. The Vanguard class is very strong. There are a lot of options with him, but overall Bolt Carbine is a top tier weapon for bolt automatics in this game, period. Melta Rifle is not terrible. Oculus is not terrible. This one is just overall the best because its CHP recovery and damage is just kind of crazy, and its ammo economy is incredible. Hey guys, first Regardsman here. Let's be talking about an Occulus Bolt Carbine Vanguard build for patch 9.0 Space Marine 2 in both Operations and Siege mode. Now the Occulus Bolt Carbine has been generally superseded by the standard Bolt Carbine automatic variants in the previous patch, but this patch, the accuracy variant, did get a buff to a ×2 headshot multiplier. It's actually pretty damn good now, which is why I'm going to be building around it today. Now for the perk tree, I just set it up down here. I go into Great Might, moving over to the perk Retaliation. After a perfectly timed dodge, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This is actually a super chunky damage buff and very easy to pull off, and 10 seconds is a very long uptime, so basically free damage. Then I move over here into the perk Perpetual Penetration. Each shot penetrates 1 additional target. Now this gun only has a 1 piercing value, so this perk is actually more valuable than it is on most guns, which is why I pick it up here. Then I move up here into Fast Reload. This weapon reloads 10% faster, and then over into a very good perk, Finisher Reload. After a finisher, the equipped weapon instantly reloads. So this weapon kind of has a long reload time, and usually reloading your weapon can be a bit of a pain in the ass, and this just makes it instantaneous within your own combat loop, so very strong for that reason. Next perk I take here is Recoupment for more armor regen, because the Vanguard actually has a pretty damn good amount of armor regen already. This just makes it that much better. Then I move down into Extended Magazine, and I pick up Magazine Restoration, because our ammo economy on Vanguard is like the worst possible thing about this class, which is why I always take this perk. Then I take the perk Increased Capacity for more ammo reserves, and I pick up damage buffs on Divine Might, and the perk here, Able Damage. After using a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds, so just a free damage buff. And for my secondary weapon selection, I actually like to use the Neo Volkite on the Vanguard quite a bit, mainly because his contested health recovery with his melee weapons and primary weapons is already very good, so he really doesn't need like a super powerful secondary in general. Now if you want to take a heavy bolt pistol, you could, because this thing does have the best gun strike damage, but I prefer this for blowing up things like spore mines and cultists and stuff like that, and it actually does pretty decent boss damage, which is why I kind of prefer it. I just take the ammo variant and take the perk tree this way, and if you want to use a heavy bolt pistol. And for my melee weapon selection, I do take a balanced chainsword here, because in patch 9.0 this did get buffed to a fat 16 strength, 7 speed, and 10 cleaving potential, and having a balanced parry window really doesn't matter all that much in this game at all. Once you actually learn this, it's very easy to parry with, even compared to fencing, so I pretty much take this all the time, and 7 speed is still a very high speed number, even compared to the 9 of the fencing version, though really you could use either, or even a block chainsword if you wanted. But for this version, I do just build down here for light attacks with momentum gain and combined onslaught. I pick up the perk Full Throttle for the full throttle combo skip. I also pick up the perk here, Swift Recovery. Heavy attacks restore 100% more contested health. Applies to the following attacks: Quick Punch, Front Kick, Shoulder Bash, Stomp. Because if we combine this with our starting perk of 50% increased contested health regeneration, we are pretty much impossible to kill in melee combat versus Minoris and things like that, so very strong option for sure. And for my Vanguard perk tree setup, it is pretty standard here, starting off with Upper Hand. After a perfect timed parry, block, or dodge, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk just saves your life. That's like the simple way to put it. No knockback in this game is incredibly valuable. Allows you to pull off melee attacks and gun strikes that would otherwise be impossible. Super top tier, which is why I pretty much always pick it here. Honestly, these other two perks kind of need a buff if they want to compete, but you know, no knockback in this game just prevents you from dying, so S tier for sure. Next perk I take here is also S tier, Conviction. When your armor is full fully depleted, do take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. 25% less health damage is a huge damage reduction. This pretty much prevents you from dying as well versus like major damage nukes. Very, very strong perk, very long uptime, and also cycles into your armor restoration, your prestige perk tree, and your weapon perks. Now, next perk I take is consecutive execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charge by 1. Cooldown is 90 seconds. Equipment in this game saves games, so top tier perk. 90-second melta bombs, crack grenades, even shock grenades, very strong options, but I pretty much always take this. And retribution, and especially the perk here, hone reactions, are not very good, especially when you have the healing perks, because this one will like cycle out of itself. Now, next perk I take for the team perk selection is Unmatched Zeal. Melee finishers of extremis or terminus level enemies additionally restore health by 30% for any squad member. This perk is top tier. This is pretty much free med kits for your whole team on every boss and extremis guy, even better in siege mode, which is why people pretty much always take it. Now, Inner Fire is also incredible in this game, but it's really up to you which one you want to pick. Now, next perk I take is Shockwave. Diving Kick additionally deals damage in a 5-meter radius. This will actually wipe out things like Bramble and stuff like that. Very useful for things like that, and also just blowing up cultists and spore mines at times, which is why I primarily take it, and these other 2 perks kind of suck. Now, next perk I take here is Zone of Impact. Performing a finisher with the grapnel launcher deals damage to nearby enemies. This damage is like absurd horde clear potential and boss damage at times, so S tier perk, far better than these 2, so I pretty much always select this. And the next perk I move into is Thrill of the Fight. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. You are parrying, blocking, and dodging in this game all the time, so this is basically a free health damage reduction stacked with conviction, so really, really strong option for sure. Now, for the signature perk selection, I do take Tactical Prowess. Grapnel Launcher can activate a finisher not only on incapacitated enemies, but also on those who have less than 33% health, except for Terminus level, and performing a finisher with the Grapnel Launcher restores its charge. I find this perk to be mandatory. This cycles into all like class ability use perks in your weapon perk tree. Like here with the Occulus, we have the perk Able Damage, or the perk up here Able Headshot, and even with things like the Heavy Bolt Pistol, we also have the perk down here, which is once again Able Damage. So being able to cycle into your own grapnel constantly with Tactical Prowess is very, very strong, and this also allows you to like loop entire hordes with Zone of Impact. The only thing that kind of sucks about this perk is that it tends to bug out many times and just not give you the execute, but even with that, it's still just top tier. It's the best way to put it. It's still an amazing perk despite all bugs, and still like the best perk overall for the signature tree by far. And for my prestige perk setup, I do just take Battlefield Awareness first. If a target is within 8 meters, you deal 10% more range damage. While we are a melee class and we do have a grapnel launcher, so getting in the face of guys is very, very easy. So this is basically a free damage buff. Next perk I take is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. Just makes us that much tankier on top of all of our health damage reduction. Then I pick up the 2 perks here, Launch Restoration and Restoration, because getting armor back in this game is super valuable because armor has damage caps that HP does not. And these 2 perks cycle really well into the perk Conviction, because you get your armor back, break it, get the 25% health damage reduction for 10 seconds, then get your armor back off of like the cooldowns from restoration and just using your grapnel, and just get your conviction procs again. So a very, very strong option. Now, Indomitable Spirit up here, while performing a gun strike, you do not lose control upon taking any hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This is also a very strong perk, just not so much on this setup, because we have the perk here, Upper Hand, which is giving us no knockback all the time anyways, and usually when you're gun striking in this game, it's off of a perfect dodge or perfect parry regardless, so really this doesn't come into effect all that often, which is why I pick these 4. But that is pretty much all I have to say about the perk tree and weapon selections here. The Occulus Bolt Carbine with this ×2 headshot multiplier does fit a niche it did not previously. It is pretty good at all ranges, and that's kind of what it's supposed to be. And overall, I think this thing's kind of being slept on currently, so hopefully this build guide helped. Hey guys, first regardsman here. I'll be talking about a double Melta build for the Vanguard class in patch 9.0 Space Marine 2 using the Melta Rifle and Inferno Pistol. Now, this build is shockingly effective. You get a stupid amount of armor restore on this, and the ammo efficiency is shockingly good as well, and the Melta Rifle is just stupidly popular in this game, especially for the Vanguard class, and patch 9.0 did buff a couple versions of this gun. Now the range version has better range and less damage fall off, and the version down here, which was previously the firepower variant, is now a rate of fire variant, though I actually kind of prefer the range variant because this thing is pretty good for zoanthropes and bosses, like shooting through a Carnifex into the guys behind him, actually shockingly good at times, which is why I decided to use it today. Now for the perk tree here, I did pick up Decisive Reload. Performing a finisher on a Majoris level or higher enemy, this weapon restores ammo by 1. This is an amazing perk. I think it is far better than the magazine restoration up here, because really only gets 6 shots back from this on like a significantly more obnoxious thing to trigger, which is dropping your HP below 30%, which can happen, but we also lose out on the amazing perk down here, Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores health by 10%. This perk is incredible, especially since I decided to take Inner Fire on this build, so I just prefer this bottom tree significantly more, and Decisive Reload is just incredible in general. Now, next perk I take is also God tier, Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 30 seconds. This perk gives you back so much free armor over the course of the game, and if you stack this with the Trick Shot on the Inferno pistol, they have separate cooldowns, and you can pretty much just like blast them on cycle into Minoris hordes and just get a ton of free armor back on top of your prestige perk. So really strong option. Pretty much always pick up this perk regardless of like which path you go here. Next perk I take is Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against Terminus level enemies. This does basically nothing for you because this gun is not amazing versus Terminus in general, but it's better than nothing. Now, next perk here is Divine Might. Damage increases by 10%. Pretty strong option for a flat damage increase. Then we pick up the extended magazine. This one just makes it so our magazine capacity is a 6 instead of 5, so pretty useful for that. Next perk here is just First Shot, and then move over here into Retaliation. After a perfectly timed dodge, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. 25% damage buff on this weapon is actually kind of noticeable, not bad by any means. And then we just pick up a free fire rate increase, so that's pretty much all there is for this perk tree. Now, for the Inferno pistol, you have a couple options here. You could either take the magazine capacity version or the rate of fire variant. Personally, I think the rate of fire variant is far better because, first of all, having a faster rate of fire on this thing means you can kill enemies more quickly, especially Minoris, this is primarily good against. And also, the rate of fire increase means you get back more CHP, which is really valuable because this weapon is actually really good for CHP recovery, which is why I kind of like it at times. Now, for the perk tree, we also don't really struggle with ammo economy here because we have the perk down here, Adamant Restoration. When your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by 25% of the maximum capacity. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. This is the only secondary in the entire game that has this perk, so super valuable option. I pretty much always take it down here, and like this other one up here for like no fear, not even remotely as good as just getting extra ammunition on dropping low HP, so super strong perk. Pretty much always pick this up. Now, another strong perk in this tree is Motivated Melee. Melee damage increases by 20%, and this weapon has no ammo in its magazine. We are playing the Vanguard class. It's just a free melee DPS increase whenever we use our ammunition here, so pretty strong for that. Now, next perk I take down here is Perpetual Range. Effective range increases by 1 meter. This is actually pretty good on this weapon because this weapon's range sucks ass, so I picked this one up as well, and obviously we can pick it up to move freely down into Adamant Restoration. Now, next perk I pick up is Extra Shot. Magazine size increases by an additional cartridge. Really, you're not using this thing for damage, even with the perk up here, One Shot, so this one is just significantly better in my opinion. And also we move into the God tier perk, Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 30 seconds, and like I said before, when you stack this one with the perk up here in the Melta Rifle of the same name, you pretty much just get the exact same effect over and over by swapping your weapons, and they are on separate cooldowns, so super strong for armor restore, especially on the Vanguard class. Now, for my melee weapon selection, I do pick up the Relic tier Blockchain Sword, which I think is by far the best option for this build in particular, and the reason why is that first up, we have 2 Melta guns, so we already clap Minoris cheeks like a Donkey Kong bongo drum. They really can't do much to us with both of these guns combined, and also we get a ton of free armor off of them already with these guns, and our gun strikes also suck ass on the Inferno pistol, so getting more gun strikes like balance or fencing hardly matters, period. And an added benefit is that the Adrenaline Surge charges from block give us a ton of extra armor versus Terminus, Majoris, and Extremis, and an added bonus on top of all of that is that this thing does so much damage that we can like a one combo hit the breakpoint to actually put guys into tactical prowess half the time. Very strong combo here, and really I just think the Blockchain Sword is by far the best option for this build in particular for all those reasons. And for the weapon perk tree selection on this weapon, I do take Perpetual Strength, moving into Swift Recovery for extra CHP regen. This perk is actually even better on the balance and fencing version, so if you do want to use those variants, this one is a great perk as well. Next perk I take up here is Perpetual Strength, then I move over into the Stomp Area of Effect Radius increase, because the perk down here, Saw Blade, 5 strikes on a 1-speed chainsword is just never happening, so kind of a worthless perk for us. Then I pick up the perk Combined Onslaught, moving into Heavy Onslaught for even more heavy attack damage. Then I pick up the Full Throttle perk for the combo skip, and then grab Minoris Slayer and Extremis Slayer. Now, I will say, if you're going to be using like a balance or fencing version, I would just build it this way instead. Just take Perpetual Strength, Swift Recovery, move over here in the exact same way. Instead, we take Saw Blade though, then move up into Combined Onslaught, pick up Full Throttle, and then we go all the way into Momentum Gain, because we do benefit from light attacks off of like each consecutive light attack, increasing our damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds on a fast attacking weapon, significantly more. And we also just benefit from Combined Onslaught for the light combo attack weapon damage increase. So a pretty strong option there for like balance and fencing, but I still prefer block. Now for the Vanguard perk tree selection here, where this whole build actually starts to come together, I pick up Upper Hand first. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. No knockback in this game. It's just one of the best status effects, period. It saves your life from stun locks, also lets you do things like gun strikes and block combos you otherwise could not do, period. So top tier perk wherever you can find it. Pretty much always pick this up. Melee Mastery and Moving Target are by no means bad. This perk is just way better. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, do take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This is a very powerful perk. 25% health damage reduction is super chunky, and a 10-second uptime is a very long uptime. And usually by the time this thing runs out, you already have armor back, so pretty much always pick this up as well. Though alternatively, you could take the perk here, Close Combat Focus. You take 20% less range damage. This one will affect your armor, but having an anti-nuke for your HP is still valuable regardless of this. And also, we will be picking up a range damage reduction here with Restless Fortitude later, so not that valuable for us on this build. Now, next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charged by 1. Cooldown is 90 seconds. Now, a 90-second Shock Nade, Crack Grenade, or Melta Bomb is invaluable on all classes, but Crack Grenades for this build in particular for operations versus Tyranids is very strong because we have a Melta Rifle and Inferno Pistol, so Zoanthropes are very annoying for us, and this one just helps us get back nades and stuff like that. Now, for the team perk selection, I decided to take the perk here, Inner Fire. All squad members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishers on Majoris level or higher enemies. Now, the description here is actually wrong. You don't have to actually do a finisher on Majoris or higher. You simply have to kill them, so it's even better than it sounds. And this perk is simply an amazing enabler for not only you, but your teammates as well. And since for this build, we are taking the perk Launch Restoration, using the Grapnel Launcher, restoring 1 armor segment to us, more grapnels means more armor. It also means more triggers of things like Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds, and this damage reduction also counts for the armor we got off of things like Launch Restoration, so super valuable for us. And the best perk combo on the Vanguard period right now is Zone of Impact plus Tactical Prowess. This perk giving you significant AoE damage on a grapnel finisher, and this one allowing you to grapnel finisher anyone that's at 33% HP or below except for Terminus, and giving you your grapnel back upon finishing them with a grapnel launcher. So really strong perk. Unfortunately, this one loves to bug out and just eat your grapnel, so Inner Fire can help you get it back more quickly. It just makes it a lot easier to use. So really strong combo here. The Unmatched Zeal perk is definitely easier to use for some players, but you'll actually find more stims, especially in the operations, if you take Inner Fire, because let's say you get low HP in Space Marine 2 and you break open a box, you are significantly more likely to find a stim at low HP than max HP, so you might actually be losing out on stims you'd otherwise find if you do take this perk in operations. And honestly, for operations period, I think Inner Fire is just better because it just generates so much value for things like the Assault Jump Pack, Tactical Auspex, Bulwark Banner especially. If they have like Invigorating Icon or something, you're not going to be missing like the healing to begin with anyways. So Inner Fire is just a god tier perk, really has been since the game came out, and really just helps us build, period. And the first perk I take in the gear section is Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds. This perk is incredible. 40% less range damage is super chunky. 10-second uptime is super long. And since we do have the perk down here, Launch Restoration, you go in on the guy, you get a 40% range damage reduction to your armor first, and if your armor actually breaks, you then also trigger the perk here, Conviction, for a 25% health damage reduction on top of the range damage reduction. So you were just stupidly tanky versus both melee guys. If there are any range guys around you shooting at you, you'll take basically no damage from them. Now, the only thing that sucks about this perk is it has a negative perk synergy with Tactical Prowess. because if you actually perform a grapnel finisher, you will not trigger the Restless Fortitude ability, which kind of sucks, but that's why we take the Inner Fire and Combat Readiness perk down here to get our grapnel back so quickly that we really don't care about just like doing a normal grapnel on a guy, so you just use this over and over. Now, you could take Shockwave, but I don't really care about this perk all that much because this is primarily good to clear out Bramble and stuff, and we have an Inferno Pistol and Melta Rifle, which do that anyways, so not super valuable for us. And the next perk I take is Zone of Impact. Performing a finisher with the grapnel launcher deals damage to nearby enemies. This is an incredible perk when combined with tactical prowess to just clear out whole hordes by itself, and like the main thing holding this back is like weird grapnel targeting bugs and stuff like your grapnel is being eaten by the game period, which is why I take Inner Fire and Combat Readiness again, because getting your grapnel back faster just means you get more tactical prowess, Zone of Impact triggers, Restless Fortitude triggers, and armor. So really valuable perk combo synergies here, and Combat Readiness is a pretty damn good perk. Now alternatively, you could take the perk up here, Thrill of the Fight. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. This is a pretty strong perk, but 5 seconds is not like a super long uptime. Getting my grapnel back more just means more damage reduction in the first place off of armor and things like Restless Fortitude, so I just value this one a bit more highly, but that's really up to you. Now for the prestige perk selection, number 1 we take Battlefield Awareness. If a target is within 8 meters, you deal 10% more range damage. Well, we have an Inferno Pistol and a Melta Rifle, so we're pretty much always going to be within 8 meters of a target, and we have a ton of grapnels, so very valuable perk for us. Pretty much always take this one. Next perk I take is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. This one just makes you tankier, super valuable perk wherever you can find it. Kind of a boring effect, but a very powerful one. Next perk is Launch Restoration. Using the grapnel launcher restores one armor segment. This perk is incredible because usually you want armor when you go in on a guy to begin with. Very strong to keep you alive, and also benefits from damage reduction to range. Next perk here is Restoration. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores one armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This is just extra armor restore on us, and also this will stack with things like Trick Shot on the Melta Rifle to give you like 2 armor back off of shooting into a horde of Minors, so very powerful synergy there. And the amount of armor restore you get on this build is kind of stupid to begin with. Very strong options, which is why I like both of these. And armor restores in Space Marine 2 are just meta for a reason, because armor has the damage caps that HP does not, and armor just saves your life, and it's basically free damage reduction, which is why I prefer this. Now if you want to take Exigency Charge and like sit at low HP, you could, but Rapid Health will heal you above this pretty often. And the perk down here, Equipment Damage increasing by 20%, is not very powerful at all, because this only hits like 1 breakpoint in the whole game versus Zoanthropes, which hardly matters. And Indomitable Spirit, kind of redundant when we have the perk here Upper Hand, which is why I picked these 4 here instead. And that's pretty much all there is for this build guide. The Melta Rifle is pretty damn strong with this build setup. Now over here I would pick up the magazine capacity ammo reserve option if I was playing siege mode or something, because ammo is more important there. And if you want to pick up like the healing perk for your team selection instead, you certainly could. That's up to you, but either way, thank you for watching. Hopefully this build guide helped and explained my reasoning for my build selection here, and as always, take it easy. Here's some gameplay. Alright, these guys. If I can get an AoE grapnel in here, that'd be good. Perfect.
What needs grapnel? We cannot leave this place without awakening all the consoles.
Unfortunately, that was one of the not so low ones.
Not leave this place without awakening all the consoles. We cannot leave this place without awakening all the consoles. Arming up. We cannot leave this place without awakening all the consoles.
Ammo, perfect. Now we're back. Now the range definitely helps the Melta Rifle a bit here. Not a ton, but does help. Alright, so these guys want to do this. Alright, I don't mind fighting you in here at all.
We cannot leave this place without awakening all the consoles.
This should kill him. And I'm gonna crack grenade the zone throw over there.
Book available.
Have to re-trigger our little range damage reduction.
Magazine out, magazine in. We cannot leave this place without awakening all the consoles. What needs grappling? Finished and ready. We cannot leave this place without awakening all the consoles. Coming out. Finished and ready. Grenade deployed. Everyone down. Such radiant ambush. Let us murder it.
Pull him in here.
Smells like fresh munitions. Into the fray. Cracking their
So I gotta go. Bramble guys, the Bramble dudes are actually pretty mean in this game. So, not a fan of that. I want to use these walls the best I can. I kind of want to use the corners here just because I don't want to get hit by that stupid range attack he's got right now. I've been flubbing on the executes, but thank God we have the inner fire. Finally. I'm one. Right, I'm over this guy.
Hold that rapid. Rapid launch. Reloading. Stay there, running. Dispensing sticks. Into the
Oh, there's a massive delay on that hit. I need ammo. Do that.
Smells like fresh munitions. Reloading. No one control. Feel its rain with bolts of fire. Unleashing crack grenade. Closing the gap. Tunneling seagulls. Kill it. Low and full. Eliminate. Smoking out magazine. Grapple launcher set. Crack grenade out. Reloading. Feather unbound. Book available. Magazine in.
Burn. Oh god. Alright, never mind. Pretty easy. Sometimes kind of annoying to try to gunstrike him with an Inferno pistol and does his dash. But in this tight area, it's not that bad. That wasn't too bad at all. Smooth sailing.
That's that sword so disappointing. Feather unbound. Glad to have that side box passing out of my ear. One down. Trillions to go. Smoking out magazine. Grapple launch. Cracking their armor. Grapple launcher set. Into the more of them. Keep that down, sword. Stay dead, running. Book available. Crack grenade deployed. Closing the gap.
to get rid of this thing. If I can.
What needs grappling? No more rounds.
Alright, get rid of this stupid thing.
The tyrannic death will unleash terror to nourish the cannons. Punching through their defense. Into the morn. Revenue will just set. New hope and no graves. Unleashing crack grenade. Empower the last cannons. Initiate the generators. What the Titan launches its missiles.
Almost there.
Unleash the Imperium's might. The tyranny dares to attack us.
Right, you're done.
Swapping out magazine. Xenos Stalker hunts us. Tyrannies. That will teach you to sneak up on a stop. The Titan launches its missile.
Oh, they're coming. So they are on separate cooldowns, I'm pretty sure. The trick shots. That's pretty neat. Alright, let's go finish this now. And that's a wrap. That felt like a lot of guys, but Absolute 2.0 in this patch is pretty rough. Just for the double boss spawns. But Inferno Pistol Melta combo, pretty good, even with Inner Fire. I might actually prefer Inner Fire on it, just because getting your grapnel back fast is just so damn important in this game. And you honestly, you get a ton of HP back from Rapid Health versus the Tyranids anyways on the Melta Rifle, so not bad at all. And the Trick Shot combo, pretty strong combo for sure. Also fun. Very fun. Let's go take a look at what we got. That was a ton of range damage that time. Oh yeah, 45,000 range damage, 30,000 melee damage, 26 extremis, 1,000 kills. Pretty damn good, guys. Anyways, if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thanks for watching.